Chapter 1. The Day I Smiled. My name is Jacob. My wife's name was Hannah, and she passed away a few days ago. She had been very sick for a long time, and she died on Monday morning. Today is Sunday, only 6 days after her death, and my heart feels completely broken. My world feels empty, quiet and strange, without her gentle voice around me anymore. There is a big dark hole inside my life that I do not know how to fill. We are sitting in her father's house, where the air feels heavy with sadness. It is a big house, but today it feels small, tight, and filled with quiet pain. Everywhere I look, people are wearing black clothes and wiping tears from their faces. My daughter Clara sits beside me, only 10 years old and far too quiet. She has hardly spoken a word since the day her mother closed her eyes forever. Around us, Hannah's family sits in silence. Her mother, father, aunts, and uncles. Everyone looks broken, their eyes red and tired, their hearts full of quiet grief. The curtains are closed, the light is dim, and the air feels heavy and still. The only sound in the room is the soft crying of people trying not to cry too loud. I look down at the floor and feel nothing at all, only a deep, strange emptiness. Then, Hannah's brother Peter begins to speak, his voice trembling but still kind. Peter is a good man, but he always talks too much when things get difficult. He says he wants to make us remember her laughter, to bring back a small smile. He starts telling a story from when they were children, playing on their grandfather's farm. He talks about a small white goat that Hannah thought was a horse one summer afternoon. She tried to climb on its back, laughing, thinking she could ride it like a pony. The goat got angry and started running fast, straight into the wooden fence. Boom! The sound was loud, and Hannah fell right into a big pile of wet brown mud. She wasn't hurt, but her whole body was covered in mud, like a tiny brown monster. Peter laughed as he told it, hoping we would laugh too, to lighten the heavy air. But the room stayed silent. No one laughed. Only his voice echoed against the walls. I sat still and thought about the story, about Hannah's small, muddy, angry face, and then, without warning, a sound escaped from me. A small, broken laugh. It wasn't loud. It was soft, quiet, and full of love I couldn't hide anymore. A small smile came to my lips, and I tried to stop it, but I couldn't. For the first time in days, my face moved, and I smiled. I smiled for Hannah. Chapter 2. The Silent Voices. In that silent, heavy room, my small laugh sounded louder than a gunshot. Everyone froze. Everyone turned their heads toward me at the same moment. All the crying stopped. The room became so still that I could hear my heartbeat. Peter stopped talking, his mouth open, his eyes confused by what he just heard. I quickly covered my mouth with my hand, but it was already too late. I looked at my daughter, Clara, sitting beside me, staring straight into my eyes. Her face was pale, her eyes wide and full of shock and confusion. She didn't cry right away. She just stared, like she didn't recognize me anymore. Then, slowly, her face changed. Her lips trembled, and her eyes filled with tears. She put her small hand over her mouth and stood up without saying a word. Then she turned and ran out of the room, her black dress brushing the floor. My chest felt cold, my hands started shaking, and I couldn't move. I lifted my eyes and saw Hannah's mother sitting in her big chair, silent and strong. She was looking straight at me, and her eyes were full of anger and disbelief. Her face said everything her mouth didn't. How could you laugh? And in that moment, I felt smaller than I had ever felt in my whole life. She turned her head away from me, her face hard and cold like a wall of stone. Then the whispers began, soft at first, but sharp enough to cut through the air. I could hear every word. They weren't quiet. They wanted me to hear them. One of Hannah's aunts whispered, "Did you see that?" He smiled. He actually smiled. Another voice, her old friend, said quietly, "He looks happy. Maybe he's relieved she's finally gone." Then I heard a man's voice, deep, slow, full of judgment. It was Hannah's uncle. He said, "I knew it." He never really loved her. He didn't even cry at the funeral. "Now look, he's laughing," another voice added, like pushing a knife deeper into my chest. Each word felt like a blade. I didn't move. I couldn't defend myself. I just sat there, frozen in my chair, like a statue carved from cold stone. Inside my head I screamed, but my mouth stayed silent, locked shut by shame. My wife's family thought I was a monster, a man with no heart, no soul. They believed I was happy she was gone, that I had been waiting for this day. But my small smile, that soft, broken smile, had ruined everything I had left. I wanted to stand up, to shout, to tell them the truth. But no sound came out. I sat there, drowning quietly in their stares, in their whispers, in my guilt. Chapter 3. The Man in the Quiet Home. We went home that night, and the house felt like a cold, empty cage. The next few weeks became the worst days of my entire life. Every room was full of Hannah, her smell, her clothes, her quiet touches everywhere. Her book still sat open on the table, her scarf still hung on the chair. The air smelled like her shampoo, like the past that would never come back again. But she was gone. And in a way, my daughter Clara was gone too. She was inside the house, but her heart was locked away behind her bedroom door. She didn't talk to me, didn't look at me, didn't even come to the table for dinner. When I cooked her favorite meals, she didn't come out. She made a sandwich later, alone. One quiet night, I stood outside her door and knocked softly. "Clara, please open the door," I said. "We need to talk. I miss you." There was no answer. The house was silent except for my breathing. "Clara, please, honey," I said again. "I'm your father. Please talk to me." The door opened slowly, and she stood there, small, pale, and tired. She had lost weight, and her eyes were red from crying or not sleeping. When she looked at me, I saw her mother's eyes, but colder, harder, empty. She whispered first, "No, you are not my father." Her words hit me like a punch. I blinked and said, "What? Clara, what do you mean?" Her voice grew louder, stronger, shaking with anger. "A father loves his family. A father cries when his wife dies. A father doesn't laugh. She was shouting now, her small fists tight, her face full of pain. You laughed, Dad. You were happy. I saw you. You smiled when she was gone. Then she said the words that broke my heart completely. I can't call you father anymore. You're just the man who lives in my house. I hate you, she said, and slammed the door hard, locking it behind her. The sound echoed down the hallway like a final goodbye. And I stood there, alone in my own house, the loneliest man in the whole city. Chapter 4. The Secret I Still Keep. I fell to the floor, my hands over my face, my body shaking with tears. I cried for my wife, for my daughter, for the family I had already lost. I cried until I couldn't breathe, until my heart felt too heavy to hold inside. I was broken, not by what they said, but because they didn't know the truth. They didn't know why I smiled. They didn't know what that smile really meant. If you enjoyed reading this story and want to see more, please like, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe today.